Hello and welcome to Heartcast, where we'll travel to the future once more and be awed by the awesomeness of Rye. I'm Humphrey Erm.
And I'm Christian Claus.
Lifeline. Give me Rye Volume 2, Battle for New Japan. I actually just finished reading it right now, and man, what a ride.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
If I remember correctly, you mentioned that with the previous volume, when you say something that this was like really felt like a blockbuster movie or something?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, it felt like, especially with the remake of, what was that anime called that they remade?
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell? Yeah, Ghost in the Shell. It feels very much like Ghost in the Shell. And I think if they can, honestly, I think the only reason this hasn't been made is maybe because Hollywood producers haven't gotten their hands on it yet, because it is kind of specifically what Hollywood nowadays is looking for. Big spectacle, a lot of like, kind of like this ready built world. I mean, all this sci-fi stuff, we're kind of going back to that with the Blade Runner coming out now too. And, you know, especially like Ghost in the Shell having to like being this big thing that they were bringing out. I just feel this feels like this is something that should be made as well.
I absolutely agree. Because reading through this, it just really feels like, oh man, I mean, it hits the beat so well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, sure, there's a lot of narration to get points across, but it works so well. Like, I was reading this again, and this is one of the newer ones in that sense. Like, I mean, it's been a while since I read it, but it's not one of those like, oh yeah, this was, years and years ago.
Yeah.
But even so, I was like, oh, right, this was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you take this volume and the one before that, put them together, like rewrite it a little bit to get some of the kinks out or make it more of a thing for viewing audiences, I feel like this could be like a perfect, like pretty much a really perfect movie. I just feel like it's going to take way too long for the Valiant universe to actually bring this movie out, because we're like kind of saying what the timeline was for the movies of this from Valiant, and I feel like they're kind of starting with weaker feet. I feel like, and I kind of am worried, as much as you can be worried about something that doesn't actually affect you. That they are going to run out of steam before they get to Rye.
If at all.
They're not going to see this. Yeah, they're not going to see the sales that they want. The first one, I'm still not sure why they are starting with. Which one were they starting with now?
They switched to Harbinger now, thanks to the writer who won an Oscar now.
Right, that's what. Yeah, because they switched. Yeah, I don't feel like they're doing themselves a favor with starting with Harbinger. I just don't know I just feel like if you want to kind of bring that story or those characters to a broad audience, you're going to either have to change some of the main characters. Like, I don't think Peter Sanchek is the kind of character that a lot of people can identify with. Like if they keep it the way it is in the comic, right?
So I'm 100% certain that they'll make it entirely unambiguous that he did not rape her.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean. It's just like,
so like I'm sure he'll do the whole mind control. It'll be very clear that he never maybe you'll see him tempted, but he'll choose not to.
Right, and I feel like then you're kind of pissing off maybe some of the original no, that's not what they are. No, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you're changing the character and then it's not what it is anymore. And I think the new audiences won't really like it because they're going to be, I think, just going to be too much with all those characters and this kind of stuff. And everybody will be like, well, this is just X-Men, it's just, whatever. I feel like Rye, though, on the other hand, is something that's a little bit more specific. That could be something that stands out more. And as long as you cast an Asian actor to play Rye, I think you won't have any controversy, you won't have any problems. And I feel like, because that's the thing, like we're always talking about whitewashing, but I feel this feels also this thing called like star washing. And I think that's a bigger thing than with the whole Asian thing. I mean, obviously, yes, there is a racism and a bias against Asians in Hollywood movies. But I feel with something like this, where it's such a low, it has such a small fan base to begin with, I feel like you could then take that risk and go like, well, let's just go with an Asian actor, because this isn't going to be like a huge hit anyway, because it's like who's Valiant basically, right? So it's not like with DC or Marvel where it's like they have a lot of money riding on it. But on the other hand, I can see a lot of producers saying like, well, it's just a small movie, so if we don't put in an Asian actor, then it will only piss off a few people. So I don't know. I mean,
well, they could kind of like compromise, I guess, in some sense. Like, not in terms of like, having him be like, what's called biracial or anything, but you have Spylock as well, who could maybe have like at least marketing wise, could have a bit like a bigger push.
Yeah, well, I think, yes, Spylock could definitely be a Western actor.
Yeah, like, you could have like some big guy for that in terms of like star power. But then it's kind of, again, not that you're tricking the audience into thinking Spylock's the hero, because, hopefully it'll still be called Rye, the movie. But that way it might not feel like, oh, it's not a foreign film. That's good. I don't like foreign films.
Really? Is that the thing? You don't like foreign films?
I don't know. Isn't that like the whole Great Wall thing? Because obviously, that would have done even worse if they hadn't had Matt Damon in it.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, again, this would be like at least 5 years from now, this moment, but, if at all. But, right. Since we're just discussing like movie wise, because that's the best thing to do in a comics podcast. But honestly, I'm curious, considering how so many changes have to be done to movies thanks to the Chinese market.
Yeah.
I'm curious how interested the Chinese would be about futuristic Japan with main character with just who's the Japanese like wartime flag.
I mean, I don't know. I was watching a video yesterday where about the that Japanese hobby of pimping out trucks.
What?
What, you don't know about that?
Pimping out trucks?
Yeah, trucks.
No, okay. Quick rundown.
Yeah, it's called Japanese trucker art, dekotara. Yeah, that's what it's called, dekotara. I'll put a link in the show notes. But it's basically just like these huge like trucks with all these like lights and everything. Are you Googling it?
So, no, it's what's called. But I think that part that makes. I think I was taking more literally when you were saying, like they were pimping them out to people.
Yeah.
Rather than making them fancy.
Either way. No. They're making it fancy.
Yeah, no, that I think I've seen like pictures of on Tumblr. Like super fancy trucks.
Well, I mean, how you say fancy? I think they're just kitschy. I mean, they're just like I don't like them at all.
Not
but anyway.
fancy. Yeah, but a lot of lights, a lot of like glitter, a lot of like things.
Yeah, but I don't think, because on one of the cars they had the Japanese war flag on there as well. So I'm not sure if it has the same kind of connotation that it does with like the Nazi flag or stuff like that. I mean, maybe it has the same feeling like the Confederate flag.
I was just
because it wasn't like
yeah.
But just because it's not like maybe because it's not like a racist thing.
Yeah, it's just a like imperialistic genocide thing.
Yeah. Either way, I feel like, because I mean, like with Ghost in the Shell again, that was also very Japanese based. And the Chinese also reacted well to that, or they had, I think they even gave some money as well. I'm not sure. I mean, they're pretty much sponsoring any kind of Hollywood movie lately. But I mean, the Asian markets are getting really big. I mean, that's why Avengers Age of Ultron was also in Korea. Because it is a huge market out there. And I feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's a Japanese story, so you can't really change it. And I don't know if they would say like, hey, let's change the design. But honestly, I mean, Yeah, it's very clear what it is. Not much to say about that, but we'll see when it happens. When it happens.
Yeah, well, the difference as well is the fact this is, Rai isn't like an old wartime character or anything. So he doesn't have like that actual baggage to character.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 90s character. So, it's not like it's, oh, hey, that character was shown in propaganda films, in the 40s. So obviously that wouldn't be an issue, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to see it's almost like modern film, well, not modern filmmaking, but modern film production, I guess, as well as marketing. It's almost like a battlefield, it sounds like. Like, just like, okay, where do we send the movie first? Or like, do we have to think about this and this, like, target demographic or this market share or fancy business words?
Fancy business words.
Well, yeah, I'm an artist. I don't know these things. That's why I have to take courses and stuff.
Have you actually taken courses?
So, well, they've had things in school, and I actually took what's called, I took 2 hours away from work on Monday to take part in something.
Okay.
Yeah, they're having a thing right now here called the Nippon Nordic. Denmark and Japan is celebrating their 150th anniversary of like diplomatic connections.
Okay.
And it's an excuse to have a bunch of like Danes and Japanese people get together, and they're doing like a pitching thing.
Oh, cool.
I looked into it. I couldn't have gotten it. I'm Swedish. So, and I got a job, so.
Only freeloaders get to do this.
No, I'm sure the other ones took their chances with this, but it's pretty cool. Met one guy there. He he worked at Square Enix for 2 years.
Cool.
Yeah, on Final Fantasy 11 as a game designer. Not lead game designer, of course, but...
Well, speaking of games, when I was reading through this comic as well, I was thinking, man, this would be such a great open world game with all the sectors and everything, and being able to quick travel between all the areas, like through the electricity. And it's part of the
lore.
Exactly.
So, and then
I don't know, because I have this memory, and I can't seem to find it online anymore, but I remember this game. It was set in this futuristic world where you were either a taxi driver or you were in a car, like a flying car. You know how like in The Fifth Element where all the cars were like in the sky, and you could like, there was these huge houses that you could just like fly past with your car?
Well, yeah, I've seen it once, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of like Manhattan, but like large, like it's like huge, like into the skies and everything. And then you have all these, like, it's really like noir and stuff like that. And I haven't found that game. I've been looking for it for a couple of years, and I remember playing it when I was younger, but I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember anything except for like the visuals that I have in my head. And I think it was that you were a taxi driver in this futuristic world and you were driving around. Anyway,
well, go to that Reddit. Back to me when I was that subreddit, tip of my tongue.
Maybe I'll check it out. Either way, I was kind of looking at this and thinking like, man, that's the kind of setting I would love to see with this. Just, Rai running around, having to solve mysteries, solve deaths. Like, you could have that whole thing where like, hey, the first murder in thousands of years has happened. You have to figure out who it was, and it kind of starts this whole conspiracy theory and stuff like that. That'd be so awesome.
Oh yeah, and easy enough to like have like battles and stuff. Either fighting raddies to like maybe having some what's called positron people that maybe like gone haywire or something.
Exactly.
Like super easy. I mean, oh damn, I don't know why I didn't think of that myself, but damn, I want to play this now. Like sort of just using what's already exists in mind right now. But yeah, like a little like Arkham City kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only you're not talking about moving horizontally, you're talking about moving vertically.
Exactly.
So that's the thing, like horizontally it'd be very small, like, I mean, not small of course, but small if you're not thinking like Breath of the Wild is very big, like huge in the horizontal, but it's not really huge in the vertical. So I was thinking like if you take like even an eighth or even a 16th of what the Breath of the Wild is, and you put that on each floor and just make him go up for like hundreds of floors or whatever. I mean, that would be so awesome.
Well, if they can then actually have when he's fighting the Rye number 10, I guess it would be.
Was it 10? I thought it was 8.
So, well, no, 8 is the one on Earth, the one that's brought up.
Right.
Which means
the
that
new one
Rye
is
is
10.
9. And then the new guy here must be 10. Oh, yeah, because he's X.
Okay.
Yeah, XI. He's 10.
Yep.
But yeah, if they can have the boss battle there where you're actually plunging through each level you've already played the whole game through on.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, it's kind of like, I remember Kingdom Hearts 1, kind of, it didn't have like the whole plunging through the worlds, but it had like this gauntlet at the end of the game where you travel, like you had to like go through portals, and each portal you had to defeat all the enemies, and it was all in one of the worlds.
Nice.
So, yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of ideas what we can do with this comic other than be a comic.
Yeah, let's talk about the comic finally.
So again, I loved reading through it.
Yeah, me too. This has got to be like my close second, like favorite character, like close to first. I mean, I kind of feel like the only reason I'm keeping Gilad up there is just because he's the OC or the OG, the original favorite character of mine.
Yeah, but I also feel he has more versatility. Like he's more interesting overall.
Yeah, but the thing is, we haven't seen that much with Gilad, and I mean, yeah, kind of, but I feel like the history stuff is interesting in one way, but the future stuff is even more interesting because it's kind of like you don't know what's coming. I actually kind of like the point where Gilad was up at this like time. Like when he was with when he had that whole thing with the guns and the nuclear.
Eternal Emperor.
Right. I like that much more because it was so interesting to see the future in because you just didn't know what was going to come. Like if you look into the past, you always know what's going on. There's no one takes out a new weapon that can like destroy everything. It's just like swords and spears and stuff like that. And again, it's interesting in itself, but this is just so much fun because not only is the design so good because they have to come up with new things like how is Rye's sword look like? It's not just a sword, it's like this digital like fractal sword. It's just like, oh, this is so cool. And then you have like this cloak that he throws over the guy that's like an invisibility cloak or whatever, and it's just like, oh, this is so cool. And it's just fun because every single time you can turn around a corner, you can see something interesting like that little what do they call it? The fisheye observatory. How cool is that thing? Like, I mean, it's just such an interesting thing to add to the world, to the lore, and where history is great because you kind of know what's coming. It is somewhat predictable because unless you're doing historical fiction, you don't have a guy suddenly take out a bazooka when they're fighting against the Romans. And with this, it's just like, you don't know anything about the world, so everything is so new and fresh and exciting when you actually see it. I mean, I was way too excited about this whole fisheye observatory thing because it's just like, oh, this is so cool. Like I've never seen that. That makes so much sense. And the guy that was inside it was just hilarious, and yeah, it was just fun.
But yeah, no, but it's a fun world, and I'm surprised. Well, not surprised in that sense, but I always find it tricky when you have a very like outlandish environment, which I find is always more with like future stuff, because it feels like you have to explain a lot usually. Because oh wow, what is this world? Well, in this world, it's this and this, and this is the value system and the technology. So it can be very overwhelming, I think. Again, goes the same with like fantasy worlds and whatnot. But I gotta say, from the first volume, and then especially now that we, coming back to this, since things have been established already.
Yeah.
So it works really well. Like they come back to points. Like it doesn't feel like they're adding too much stuff on top. Like even new things they introduce now, like, which honestly, as cool as he is, he does feel kind of unnecessary. Isaac. So the like alien, like I guess he's a vine, in sewer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he feels like
Is he supposed to be a vine though?
I think so, based on his face and like the multiple arms. So at least that's my like impression of it, like the eyes and the face especially. So, but either way, again, really cool design. Like especially is a great depiction with things to Clayton Crane, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, good lord, when she enters that room and he's just like, so cool looking. But in general, I mean, I can't remember what he does later. But in general, in this volume, he really feels like just the kind of like the Boba Fett of this series. He looks so freaking cool, but he doesn't really do anything. So then we also get some, what's called, some much more interesting backstory for Momo.
Yes.
Was it awkward reading it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Especially when you're seeing with that fat guy.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Momo is my girlfriend's name, so.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
I don't think the listeners necessarily know what her name is.
So yeah, no, but it's but I found that also interesting there, and also I think one of the few times there's a in-universe explanation to why this female character is hot.
Mm-hmm.
And without it being like the things people complain about for Metal Gear Solid 5, for example. So that girl, the Quiet.
No idea.
Well, she has like a very stripperific outfit, and the in-universe like justification for it is that she breathes through her skin.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of stuff like that, and it's as people say, okay, look, yes, say you think she's hot, that's we would be fine. Right. But here it feels like, yeah, she's she was modified by her companion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, that makes sense within this kind of hedonistic future society. And yes, the whole idea of how she says, I realized that I would never be my own person.
Right.
Again, that's really interesting, I feel, as just as a thing that goes on, as well as what's her name, the teenager, Lula Lee.
Yes,
her getting her own companion as well. I don't know. It's so cool to see, I feel, because it's such a foreign idea. Like the whole like, oh, okay, now this is the day you get your little slave companion. But it's so cool when you get to see it like this, where it's kind of like normal. Like it's not the introduction of the concept. It's like, no, this is how it's been for, thousands of years. I feel like kind of rambling right now.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, I'm also kind of, sorry, but I was now Googling a little bit more about the PC game, about that game that I was looking for, because I was just so, I was just like, I need to find this. And I found it.
Okay, what was it?
It's called Beam Breakers. I'm not 100% sure if it is, but I think it actually is.
Okay, never heard of that.
Yeah, it's yep. This is it. I'm just looking at a Let's Play right now. Cool. Yeah, this is it. It wasn't a taxi driver. It was a pizza delivery game. And now that I'm watching the Let's Play, yeah, I actually do remember this. Like, I remember these places, like these areas and stuff like that.
That's cool.
The game's called Beam Breakers. It was in 2002, so it wasn't that. Anyway,
I was gonna say, yeah, that's not that old. But then I started calculating in my head. Oh wait, so for 10 years. So, but here's a question: since you were kind of mentioning like Gilad and stuff before, did you think that was what he was gonna go after, Spylock?
No, I never even thought about that.
Oh, okay. I had trouble remembering when I was reading it. Like, what was he gonna get? Like trying to think. Like,
well, again, I guess I didn't even think about it. I mean, I kind of forgot until I mentioned Gilad in this podcast just now. I totally forgot that he was canonically around at this time, and I know that I got really, I got really into the fact that he might show up, and then especially with you kind of saying that he is going to show up, I got really, really excited. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it now. But I did not think about that he was going to go down to get Gilad. I didn't think what he was going to go down for, but I knew that I didn't think it was Gilad. is what I'm trying to say.
All right. Yeah, no, because I was kind of thinking, like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't him, but then who was it? And it's like, oh, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, I didn't even think that he existed. Like, I didn't realize that these guys would still be alive. You know what I mean?
Well, I imagine they are kind of. I'm not sure if all of them are actually. Well, this is sort of a semi-spoiler thing, but we're actually going to find out a lot about the previous rise in that event that connects with the next volume.
Ooh, nice.
Well, after this, because yes, there is a Rye Volume 3, but that's more of like a tie-in to the event book 4001 AD. So it's going to be a bit like Armor Hunters in the sense that the 4001 AD comic is going to be the main one that continues this story. But then the Rye book is going to actually be like a prequel tie-in. So you'll find out a lot more about the previous Rise and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. It'll be a while.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing that's kind of a little bit annoying is the that you kind of get pumped up for something and then you just completely forget what's coming up because we're just doing everything. I mean, I would love to just be able to read all the catch up completely on Rye right now because I'm just I'm such a Rye high.
Are you Rye?
No, dude.
Yeah, no, that is not good either. But oh well.
Yeah. Anyway, but I totally forgot about what what actually happened in the first one, like in the first volume. But I mean, obviously, I did get back into it a little bit after I kept on reading. But the first couple of pages, I was thinking maybe I should go back and reread Volume 1 just to kind of get it. But I then did get the concept of it. Another thing I really did like, and I'm going to mention this every single time it happens, is they had their little icons of what the characters are, what their names are, and what they do before every chapter, which is good. And again, this does show as well that Japan may have been onto something with giving main characters certain different colors of hair. Because, again, the characters were so easily distinguishable because they just had their color of hair. They had a very distinct design. So there was never any question on who was who.
Well, it's the anime principle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Maybe they were onto something because almost every other episode of this podcast I'm complaining about, I don't recognize the characters because the artists all draw them differently. And in this one, every artist, I mean, obviously it's just one artist, but there was no problem seeing or understanding who was who.
Yeah, but they have nice, clear designs, not just in their hair. I mean, some are like a very outrageous, like Rye, of course. You can't really mix him up with anyone.
Yeah, but can you really keep the two girls apart? Except for like if she didn't have the imprint, if Momo didn't have the imprint on her head?
That's true. Yeah, she's not any like immediate kind of thing.
Yeah, like if you didn't have the hair, I mean, it's basically just two girls.
That's true. But even then, like their clothes and such. I mean, obviously, there's so many things that come into a design. But yeah, like the hairstyle and the hair colors work really well.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's the same writer and artist, so it's no need to discuss like the art in that sense.
No.
But I don't know what it is, but it always seems to, when you want something like awesome to happen, you add dinosaurs. And let's see, I'm trying to find it. There we go, page 82.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, there's something about when you have dinosaurs and then you like armor them up. It's immediately just like really badass.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at that page and I was thinking like, I think he had a fun with this page, Clayton Crane.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean, yeah, like cyborg dinosaurs, which I think this might actually be a reference to original Valiant as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With Turok or?
No, well, kind of related, but you know that event I told you about, the Unity?
Yes.
Yeah, like that's where they took the name for the team book in the reboot. but Unity was the event book that tied up like all the current series, and it put all the main characters from those series into this world. I can't remember what it was called, but it's where like time and space is like the same and constant. So both dinosaurs and the future is in the same place.
Yeah.
And this is a very common thing there, these dinosaurs with like cybernetic implants. So I'm curious if that was like a specific, like if that was like what's the word? What's the word? Not self-conscious, that's a bad thing.
A conscientious?
Yeah. Conscious choice, yeah. It was a conscious choice as a reference. Or if it's just something that's so cool on its own that you don't have to reference it. I'm also pretty happy that even though they kind of set up a fight between Rye and Isaac, I do like that it was like solved very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it felt natural in the sense that Isaac wanted to attack him and wasn't like easily stopped. I mean, even after Momo did stop him, there was still another swipe. You know, and I was like, yeah, that's good. I mean, that feels natural. It feels good. And then after it was all explained, it was all good. But yeah, it didn't feel at all cheap. Or, I mean, how would you make it cheap? It just, yeah, it felt right.
Well, yeah, such a common trope in superhero comics. Like, I think it's even on TV tropes. I think it's called like, let's you and him fight.
Yeah.
So
the basis to Batman versus Superman.
Exactly. You know, it's always something like new characters meet. There's a there's a misunderstanding usually if they're heroes, and then they fight for a bit to show off, you know, their powers, and then eventually like, oh hey, you were pretty okay.
Martha, why'd you say that name? So you want to talk about the little do you want to talk about that little thing at the end with the geomancer?
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I wrote that down, but I didn't bring it up myself yet. But that's what I love about this stuff, though. Again, I think that's what makes Rye kind of interesting, because all the stuff we learn about in the present, it's all kind of like getting warped and mixed and like condensed into future.
Yeah, and I do like that because it just feels like everything has evolved since what we know. I mean, it's like the whole thing with Livewire. I love that they keep on using that word, and I'm always like, well, what happened to Livewire? How does this become a thing? And because this is the thing, it's not confusion, it's mystery.
Exactly.
Which is, again, such an important distinction, because if I was constantly confused, I wouldn't enjoy it. But here, I mean, they keep on talking about Livewire, and I'm like, yes, okay, something happened, but it doesn't bother me. I don't need to know about it right now. I can really just enjoy the moment here with all the new stuff that's happening, that all the information I'm getting. And the same thing here with the Geomancer. I'm like, oh shit, the Geomancer, I know who that is. I know what that means. And not only that, but now she's in the sky. Like, what does that mean to that? Like, is she powering the ship? What's going on? And it's just lovely.
Yeah, no, it's
also really attractive, so.
Well, you know, she's got her like Ava plug suit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and that's what I mean, though. It's this is like the how should we say? Like, this is the benefit of a shared universe story. Like, everything ties together. Like, you don't have to fit everything into one single story, which again, you know, is fine if you want to do. Like, I mean, I'm always impressed with the complexities of like a manga series. You know, and that's like one person, one artist and their editor figuring everything out. But I just like it when it's like ties in like this, because it's, you know, like, I mean, Silk was introduced in the previous volume, but, you know, we just like finished Unity Volume 2. And then, you know, we read Ride in Volume 1, and oh, right, because he had a clone left over. They missed one.
Right, yeah.
It's like, oh, and then we know that he somehow, you know, he keeps himself going for 2,000 years. And it's just cool. And yeah, the Livewire thing too. I think in the 4001 AD, in one of the tie-in books, we get an explanation for it.
Okay, great.
So I can't remember what exactly. But yeah, you know, it's it feels like a breathing world. Like living, breathing world. And I feel rewarded for reading the other stuff.
True.
Because as you said, there's no confusion, there's mystery. But if we were only reading Rai, do you think you would enjoy it as much?
Yeah, I think so, because that's the thing. Like, it's because you're reacting to something like that. I mean, because like the Livewire thing, I don't need to know what that is. I know that it's a power that they're using in this universe, so it's not like the explanation of Livewire was done in a different comic. I'm just reading this and it works because they're just saying Livewire. With Geomancer, I think it would be more like what's a Geomancer? You know what I mean? But still not a problem in that sense. It's just, okay, she's a Geomancer. I guess I'll find out what that means next episode or whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't think I would enjoy Rai less if I wasn't reading the other comics, or if I didn't know about the, Valiant universe or that kind of stuff. Because I think the Geomancer is such a prominent like figure in the Valiant universe that I don't think you could be a Valiant fan without knowing what a Geomancer is. So, I mean, obviously you can be a fan of Valiant and not know what a Geomancer is, but
no, at some point you're going to do.
Yeah, but at some point you're going to come across it anyway, because it feels like everything somehow comes back to the Geomancer or mentions the Geomancer or whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what I mean with why I think that Isaac is a Vine, or at least a heavily experimented upon one. And that too is so cool. Like, I mean, I like it when they introduce new things, of course. I don't want it to just be kind of how it is a bit with Marvel and DC in a way. They introduce new things here and there, but in the end, it's more about playing with what's already existing.
Right.
So like, well, instead of coming up with a new alien, why don't we take this alien from an old issue from the 80s? It'll be a cool reference, and and we know that we keep the rights to it and whatever. But I like it here because it feels like it all ties together. Like, because this Vine, it's not a Vine we've met, I think, or anything like that. But it's just, oh right, the Vine, like, oh, so cool.
Yeah, but did they ever say the Vine?
No, they don't say the Vine.
I'm not picking up on that that connection at all.
I feel the face is very clear that it's Vine.
I don't know. I guess I haven't seen Vine for that long that I don't remember.
Yeah, they kind of, for being like the main antagonist in Exo Manowar, they kind of disappeared pretty quickly. I don't know. I mean, I'll see if I can find a picture of the original Vine or something, so we can compare and contrast.
Well, since I've been Googling most of this episode anyway, I might just look for it. Vine is dead. Vine Valiant.
That would have been fun if the Vine could only communicate 6 seconds at a time.
Okay, yeah, I guess I do see what you mean. Yeah, but now the face looks so much more bug-like.
In the original Vines or here?
I don't know, I'm just looking at Google images. It just feels kind of like, they look more buggy. Like if there's some sort of critter. And they also only have 2 arms.
Do they?
I don't know why you said they have multiple arms.
I was pretty sure they did.
Arms.
They had main ones, but then they had other ones?
No, they have, I mean, I'm looking at something from Valiant February 2015, Solicits, I don't know. Anyway, there's a Vine, like a design document or whatever, and it has an extra leg on the top. Or is it like a special Vine? Oh, this is Lord Vine. No idea what that is. I guess I've just spoiled myself. But yeah, the Vine only have 2 arms and a bug face. Maybe I'm looking at something totally different. I know that you can't get onto the internet because you have a Surface.
Oh, no, I am. Actually, okay. No, I'm not on the internet. I just looked up the first volume of Exo Manowar. And you're right. I just assumed somehow they had some supplemental arms, I guess you could say.
Nope.
Yeah, and I'm seeing the one that just died now from trying on the Exo Manowar suit.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I felt it was, but yeah, you're right. Looking
No,
at
but
it,
I mean,
like,
they were just like when he was talking about like where he came from and stuff like that. It was just about like, you know, they found me somewhere. Let me. I'm just gonna scroll to it. Where was it? Here we go. Here. Yeah, all they say was a race from galaxies away.
yeah, but that would still
Which is
work in
like,
that sense. But yeah,
yeah, I know, but I mean, like, but it kind of looks like he has a suit on. It might even look like he has the exosuit on.
I don't know. I mean, and again, that's where it can get tricky when you have different artists on things. Like maybe Clayton Crane just went like all out in
are
rendering
you on the
him.
page? Are you on the page?
Yeah, yeah. I'm assuming you mean 43.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks like. I mean, they're talking about how the scientists vivisected and spliced my ancestors into my 1,000 papers. I feel like maybe the arms were added to him because they're talking about splicing.
Maybe, but he
Maybe
does
they.
have the arms in that image, like the third panel there. Unless
No,
that's
yeah, that's what I mean.
already.
That's what I mean. That's after he's been spliced. Because why would he say it before we see it? And in the second panel, you don't really see more than one arm, if I'm seeing it correct, or like more than like two arms, one set of arms.
I don't know. It gets tricky. But there
Yeah.
is one. We will see one vine later in another comic that is a bit more special, so it might be related to that. Actually, I'm gonna have a little quick look there to see if it is. I'm genuinely curious now if it is in this volume or not. It's hard to remember. So many things, so many comics, so many characters. I don't know. Maybe I just found the thing, and could be, could be not. Maybe we should tweet at what's called Matt Kint or Clayton Crane and ask.
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
I'm sure they'd love to get some tweets and questions about. I guess this would be like several years ago now.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt Kint or Clayton at Clayton Crane. Is he supposed to be a Vine, Isaac? So yeah, no, but I think we're just like in agreement overall with this volume. It's just really good.
Well, I mean, it's a great volume. I mean, you're not doing anything wrong. I mean, there's nothing to say that's bad about it, and I feel like that's a lot of our podcasts are basically us beginning the episode by saying, "Oh man, what a great book," and then we go like, "And here's all the things that we could do better."
But this works so well.
Yeah, but I also feel it's kind of bad that we always just like nitpick things to death for an hour instead of like talking more about the positive stuff. But
that's true. But
it's just so much fun.
Yeah, but it's like also just human nature, I think. I mean, there's a reason why, the whole what's called the YouTube critic is so popular.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, sure there are people.
It was fun.
Positive.
I mean, there were some things that I was like the dual wielding bodyguard that just got sliced off screen. Like I was like, come on, I want to see more of that. I wanted to see an actual fight. But I mean, obviously that's the joke. I have no idea what that parrot thing was that Momo was having along. Like it was there in the sewers and then suddenly it was gone.
That's true.
And yeah, I don't know.
I think it followed it at the end of the first volume, but I'd have to check. I guess it's also one of those things where you need like a companion. You need a Watson.
True. But otherwise, I think, having just watched Valerian, I think if this movie came out, a lot of people would be pulling comparisons to Valerian. And obviously, the comic did come before the Valiant one, right? Like the whole like floating city thing.
Valerian is pre-Star Wars.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, did you see the video about all the comparisons of things that were literally ripped off from Valerian for Star Wars?
No.
Oh, it's an amazing video. I need to show it to you. Put it in the show notes as well if anyone is interested. I think it's a, I don't know where it was, but it was like a really, really interesting video to watch because it's like frame for frame, like the metal bikini that Princess Leia wore while she was captured by a huge blob monster.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. No, but that's literally the same thing that happens in Valyrian. She's captured by a huge blob monster and forced to wear a metal bikini. I'll send you the video. You'll see. Anyway, but I feel like a lot of these things are really nice. I mean, I like the idea of adding this like when they were talking about the whole why it's shitty to be one of those AIs. The whole thing, of course, that they have to fight those gladiator style games for people to watch. And of course, the whole thing that happens behind that door. Which again, I was thinking like when they were talking about like it's a way for humans to inflict their darkest imaginations on us. I was thinking like, you know, sexual fantasy stuff.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, no, but then because there was the blood and the screaming, and I was like, oh, he just wanted to murder someone or beat someone up or whatever. I don't know.
That's something I definitely could believe because I think I've seen that in a few like sci-fi like stories.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, that would be the number one thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's either it's either like a virtual reality thing or an actual thing like a light construct or like a robot or something.
Right, and then it's always the businessman. I love it because it's always the guy with the suit and tie. You know, just like a guy who has like no identifying features. You know what I mean? Like it's just a typical like white guy with a short haircut, fresh shaven, and wearing a suit, and then he goes in and just like, yeah.
Well, I think the idea about that is that it doesn't look the part. I mean, we kind of have an idea of what a creep should look like.
True.
And despite evidence to the contrary, we like to think businessmen are nice, upstanding people.
Yeah.
So that's hits harder there when it's then like that kind of person that wants to do something creepy and crazy like that. I mean, if it was that easy, we just quarantine everybody who looks creepy and we'd be fine.
Oh, here we go. It was actually the film theory.
All right. Well, I'll check that out after we finish the podcast.
Yeah.
But what do you feel with the ending though? Here, because it is a bit, it's like a big thing going on, and it's like, we shall take father down, and then nope, drops right down to earth. And the last thing we could see as the actual like comic is him being swallowed by fish.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that a bit of like what's called not an anticlimax in that sense, but it's just kind of like Or are you just looking forward to the next volume?
I'm just looking forward to the next volume. I mean, I guess they just assumed that he's dead already. I mean, like so many evil villains, and they just. I mean, I would assume that he would be dead too. I mean, especially if he's falling all the way from that high, and. Yeah, so for all intents and purposes, I'm pretty sure that they're just believe that he's dead. Or if he isn't dead, I mean, there's no way he can get back up. And with that giant fish eating him, I mean, sure, why not? I guess. I don't know why that has to be done. I mean, I kind of hope that they actually mention it then in the next book, or at least kind of show him coming out of a fish or something like that, because otherwise it'd be so unnecessary to have him like that.
Yeah, well, maybe just to hit the point home, just like a real like humiliation conga.
Yeah, I guess.
But did you notice something about his what's called chest insignia?
Whose?
So when the new Rye like stabs him in his chest,
yeah,
like I think he extracted like the nanites that go through his body.
Yeah, because it kind of like moves out. It feels more three-dimensional.
Yeah, no, but he loses the what's called like the stripes from the sun.
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah. He. Oh, you're talking about. I mean, you have to specify who you're talking about.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
I was looking at Rye 10, and you were talking about Rye 9.
So yeah,
Rye 10 also
Rye,
changes.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Rye 10, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I see what you mean. Like that his dot went black, like the flag went black.
The what?
His insignia went black.
Yeah, no, but I mean, well, yeah, that too, but also that the stripes disappear.
Well, it just went weaker. It just kind of pulled itself together. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Rye 8 as well.
Yeah, but it's just I was thinking about the thing I mentioned with the last volume. Again, Valiant's too small for people to be too up in arms about. But it was that one discussion about how it was distasteful to have your main character have that kind of symbol. And this is what I'm wondering then, if this was in response to that, or if it was planned from the get-go that his it would like revert to like the modern Japanese flag.
No, dude, no. I mean, because the whole thing is black.
Yeah, no, but
obviously when he gets his nanites back or the power back or whatever, he's going to have the stripes again.
No, but if you've seen the last page of the, let's see here, 130, in the third panel, there's no stripes there at all.
Ah, come on, dude. You know how it is with artists. You can't draw little lines that are supposed to be disintegrating.
Sure, you can.
From that far away. No. Go back to page 127.
Yeah, but I think
you can see it much clearer and closer. It's disintegrating back, like getting smaller and smaller. It's all black. So, I mean, I know if you're looking at 130, it kind of looks like it could be red, but it's not. It's black. Just like with Rye 8, when he met him, it was like a faded gray dot. And then when Rye gave him some power, it became red again. So it's going to be the same thing. He's going to have a faded circle that's like the base elements of who he is. And then once he gets his power back from Rye 10, then it's going to be the full logo again with the full stripes on the sides.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel it's... I'm just curious if it is something that would have happened or not. But either way. What's called... do you like the covers?
I love the covers. I mean, again, I know that you will probably hate the last cover.
How so?
Well, because it had nothing to do with what happened in the comic.
Yeah, like that. I mean, yeah, but it is such a nice image. I mean, those double swords through him and what's called Lula's body there. Like, yeah, it's it's fake news. But yeah, just Clayton Crane's beautiful painting. It just looks great.
I mean, there's so many of these like concept arts and all this stuff that I just want to have on my wall. I mean, if I'm going through all the like concept stuff that was on the bottom, like all the variant covers and stuff like that, I'm like, I want these things on my wall. Especially the Rye number 7 variant by Raphael Albuquerque. Damn, that looks good. It's just so beautiful. I don't know why is it Rye that everyone has some sort of creative like explosion for? I mean, it's just like every single one, if it's like the traditional Japanese art, like an art style, or if it's, modern minimalistic style, it just looks so beautiful. I don't know what it is, why specifically this, but damn, it looks so good.
I think part of it would be the simplicity of his design.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, he's basically bare-chested man with just a symbol on him. But it's, very strong contrast in terms of color. And then, the simple things like his sword and stuff, it just looks really cool. But yeah, no, I mean, again, another great, time reading Valiant. And it's a little bit of another milestone as well. So, because this is the volume where Valiant Effort stopped at.
Oh, okay.
So this is the last thing they ever, that they ever like reviewed or like made a podcast off, and that was December 20th, 2015.
Okay.
So starting next time, we passed them, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, again, not saying like, it's not like a contest or anything. It's just, it's kind of a pity that they haven't done it anymore.
And I doubt we're like better than they are. I doubt we're having any of their listeners on our podcast.
Well, I think at least one guy, though, the one I mentioned on Reddit.
Okay.
The guy, he was asking about Valiant Effort. Like, he was like, man, what was it called? And I like linked him to them, but then I mentioned that we also did it. And he was like, oh, cool, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Well, on that note, if you do have any tips on how we can make this better, because we feel like we are just talking out of our asses most of the time. And if you want to have a more clear and concise kind of explanation of what goes on in the comics, or if you want us to go in depth on other parts of the comic, let us know. I mean, you can contact us on Twitter, Facebook, on Reddit as well. If you search Hardcast on Reddit, we have a subreddit there. All the links are in the description. And just let us know how we can make this better, because we want to go through all the Valiant comics and we want to talk about them. And yeah, whatever makes it listening better to you guys.
So what he said.
And I see here in the bottom here, by the way, I was just scrolling through the end stuff on Rye. They have a reading order. Oh my God. Rye's falling down to earth.
Yeah.
Gilad is on Earth.
Yeah.
They're telling us to read Eternal Warrior Volume 2 in between Battle for New Japan and The Orphan, which is Rye Volume 3. Is Gilad going to be in the next volume?
We'll see. It's going to be fun, though.
I'm so excited. It's not going to be another 25 weeks until we get to another Rye issue.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to update our list because we're getting to the end of it.
God damn it.
So yeah, it'll be nice to figure out how far away we are from certain volumes. But yeah, great. Well, that was the 52nd episode of Hardcast, detailing Rye Volume 2. You can discuss the episode on Reddit, tweet us, or you can follow us on Facebook. Links are in the show notes. Also, all of our episodes are available on our hosting site, Podbean. Catch us next time for our next episode, discussing Divinity.
So apparently Valiant Comics did reply about the whole controversy. Did you know that?
Oh, did they?
They said that we are aware of the motif. It's a story point. All will make sense. Book is more than a cover.
All right.
And again, obviously, everyone was just like, because again, I think so many people are thinking that it's it has the same symbolism as the Nazi motif, which again, I can't say if it does or not. But the way that people are like using it in Japan as well, I doubt it. I mean, maybe it has more of a linking to the Confederate flag, but then people are also like, imagine responding that way if a hero had a swastika and folks complained. What plot point would justify that?
So yeah, no, but exactly. So, but yeah, that's what I mean. That's when I'm curious if it really was decided from the get-go. So, because there definitely would be what's called like a visual motif about it. Then, he goes from having the imperial, flag to becoming.
Well,
the
I guess
more
you could
modern.
you could kind of call it because he's under control of the father.
Exactly.
And that is kind of like he's this. Yeah, he is basically the warrior for New Japan. So I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense that he would have this war flag on him. And now maybe like you said, I mean, maybe he would have more of a Japanese flag then later, because then he's fighting more for himself and for Japan or for New Japan instead of for the father. So, I mean, maybe that would be a thing. I mean, we'll see.
So yeah,
but I honestly think that you only brought that whole thing up about the losing of the stripes because you knew that the stripes are going to go away.
No. Why would you say that?
Because I don't think it would be clear from the information that we were given that the stripes would disappear.
I guess I spoiled you.
Yeah. Okay. See, I knew it. You knew that it was going to change, so that's why you brought it up. Because it does not, from the information we have there, did not look like that at all.
I just wanted to sound clever, like